Alright, welcome to our video for Unit 3, Day 1. This lesson is titled Parallel Lines and Transversals. This video is going to be a little bit different. As I reminded you in class, I'm not giving you a note packet for this unit. You will be taking notes on notebook paper. You will be turning that in. So when you show up to class without anything written down for the lesson at all, that means you didn't watch the video. So if you're watching the video, please make sure that you have the notes filled out when you come back to class. It's going to be very important to have that to start with. This shouldn't take us too long. There's not a whole lot we have to cover with this. This is an introduction to our unit, and we're going to talk about some key ideas here. All right. So we're talking about parallel lines and transversals. So if you ever need to pause the video to get things copied down, feel free to do that. I'm going to write things kind of quickly, and I'll even pause the video recording and write some stuff down and then continue. So you'll want to make sure you take advantage of that pause button. Okay, so the first thing I want us to do, after you have this title written down, obviously you don't have to take up 4 or 5 lines like I did. I just wanted to make sure it was plenty visible when you're watching the video. But Unit 3, Day 1, Parallel Lines, Transversals, make sure that's written across this top margin. And then I would like for you to have some kind of a straight edge. It can be a ruler. Okay, you can take another piece of paper and fold it up. You can take out your ID card, use that as a straight edge. Okay. Some straight edge to draw these lines that we're going to be talking about. So the first thing I want us to do, somewhere towards the top of your page, I want you to draw one horizontal line. You can follow the line on your paper, but I want you to make it nice and long. Okay, most of the width of your page. And then I want you to skip down, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 lines. I want you to draw another line horizontally so it would be parallel to the first. Okay, remember parallel lines mean they never intersect. So we're going to draw these lines. Okay. And I want you to label these 2 lines. Okay, we can label lines with lowercase script letters, so we're going to call this line L and this line M. Okay. And then we're going to draw another line that goes across these lines in some way. Okay, so we're going to pick an angle. Alright, pick some angle to take. We're going to draw a third line that intersects both of the parallel lines. Okay, we're going to call that line T. Okay, this line that intersects these 2 other lines is called a transversal. Transversal. Any line that intersects 2 or more lines is called a transversal. All right. Now, I want to go back to lines L and M. In order to show that they are parallel, you'll remember that we have to mark them that way with parallel line arrows. Okay, we want to show that those are parallel to each other by that marking. So we've already reviewed quite a bit from Unit 1 about parallel lines and how to draw lines, how to label lines. Okay? All right, so in order to finish out these notes, we're going to talk about some things that are created. So what I would like for you to do is I'd like for you to number all 8 angles. That's right, I said 8. I'm going to show you what those are. We're going to start in the top left, so make sure you number them the way I am. Call that angle 1. We're going to go clockwise around each intersection. 2, 3, and 4. And then we're going to come down here, and we're going to start again in the same place we did with angle 1. We're going to start in the other top left corner. We're going to call that the next angle 5. Okay. And then this is 6, 7, and 8. So we have all 8 angles numbered. It's going to make it a lot easier to talk about these things when we do this. Okay. So you've got that diagram. Make sure you have that done. If you need to pause the video, get caught up, go ahead and do that. But that should be the first thing you see there. All right. And then we're going to zoom out a little bit so that we can do some more work. All right. Okay, and then lower on your page, you should still have plenty of room. We're going to make a chart. All right. So I'm just going to use the room I've got. I'm going to speed things up a little bit and use a little bit of video recording magic, and this is what you should get. All right, now yours might look a little bit different than mine, and if you run out of room, we can continue this on the next page. But most of you should have enough room to get plenty of stuff written down here. Pause the video so you can get it copied down because you'll want to make sure these are drawn correctly. All right, we're going to label each column like this. This last column is going to be our mystery column, and I'll fill that in for you when we get into class. We're going to try and discover some things about these different angle pairs that we're going to notice. So the first angle pair that we're going to look at are called corresponding angles. Ran out of room almost. Corresponding angles. And I'll put the angle symbol instead of the word. All right? So we have corresponding angles. I'm going to give you some examples from our diagram here of what corresponding angles would be. Okay? 1 and 5, angles 1 and 5 are corresponding angles. Okay, I can also say angles 3 and 7 are corresponding angles. And there's many more we can come up with. In fact, I could come up with 8 different pairs of corresponding angles. Well, we should be able to discover from that what corresponding angles are. If you look at 1 and 5, okay, 1 and 5 are angles created by this left side of the transversal, and then they're both above their respective lines in the parallel lines. Angle 1 is above angle, or side L, sorry, line L. Angle 5 is above line M. And so what we get is that corresponding angles are in the same position relative to the lines. Okay, so these are angles that are in the same position to the lines. Okay, they're both on the same side of the transversal, and they're both on the same side of their respective lines. Okay, the next angle pair we get are called alternate interior. Interior angles. Okay. So let me give you some examples of alternate interior angles. Angle 3 and angle 5 are alternate interior angles. Cover up our table a little bit. Alternate interior angles are angles 3 and 5. And then we have another pair, angles 4 and 6 are alternate interior angles. Well, if you look at one of the pairs, 3 and 5. Now, 3 is on the right side of your transversal line, and 5 is on the other side. So they're on opposite sides of the transversal. So these are on opposite sides of the transversal. Okay, but they're in the interior between the parallel lines. Okay, these are the interior portions, and so anything outside, like angles 1, 2, 7, and 8, would be exterior. Okay, that leads us to another pair of another pair of angles created by the parallel lines. All right, so another angle pair we could have are alternate exterior angles. I'll give you some examples of those. Okay, we just talked about the interior being inside here. The exterior would be anything outsides of these lines. And alternate, again, they're going to be on opposite sides of that transversal. So 1 and 7 are alternate exteriors, but then so are 2 and 8. All right? And then I'll give you a short description here of what those could be. They're on opposite sides of the transversal and outside the parallel lines. Okay, so they're in the exterior. They're outside the parallel lines. All right, and then we have one other angle pair to consider, at least of our new angle pairs, and those are called consecutive interior angles. Now the word consecutive means in a row or in order. Okay, so let me give you examples of consecutive interior angles. 4 and 5 are consecutive interior angles. All right, and then 3 and 6 are consecutive interior angles. you'll notice that these are on the same side of the transversal. Okay. And they are between the parallel lines. Okay, so they're interior angles again, but they're on the same side of the transversal. All right, now we do have some other angle pairs that I want to talk about, but you guys have all seen these before. Okay, so our last two rows here are going to be vertical angles and linear pairs. All right, we talked about those, and those exist just between two intersecting lines. So I don't have to have all three lines here to answer these. All right, so I'll show you some examples of vertical angles. Okay, remember 5 and 7 are vertical angles. All right, and then I could go to the other pair of lines. Okay, and I could say 2 and 4 are also vertical angles. And you guys might have seen the other pairs there. Those aren't the only pairs we could write. Okay, vertical angles, remember, are formed by intersecting lines and no common sides. Okay, formed by intersecting lines and no common sides. All right. And then linear pairs, remember those. 5 and 6 could be linear pairs. But also I could say 6 and 7. Now there's a lot more linear pairs we can come up with. Remember what the definition for linear pair is. Adjacent angles, okay, where the non-common sides form a straight line. You can abbreviate this. All right? Okay, those non-common sides form a straight line. All right? So that kind of wraps up our note-taking for this lesson. Okay, I went kind of slow, let you copy everything down. Okay, you should have all this written down, a picture, and then this table. I separated the pages so I could easily talk about this, but yours is all going to be on one page. And we're going to talk about this in class when you come back next time.